into game number 1 of this best of 3 series. Oh, we've watched this a couple times in the last couple of weeks, and every time it's been really, really good. As we have on the top right hand side, the blue Zerg player from Clash, we do have REYNOR. And in the bottom left, our red Terran from Team Liquid is Clem. As you see the SCV building up, Depot coming through, and the game begins. I mean, again, these guys have played each other a lot as of late. Playing each other a lot of the time. They played in the WardiTV Spring Championship Qualifier Finals. That went to Clem 3-1. They played in the WardiTV Spring Championship Group, and that went to Clem 2-1. And in general, REYNOR last week lost to Hero Marine as well. It really feels as though REYNOR has had some issues with the Terran race as of late. And he even said it himself, not quite sure how to play against Terran on these new maps. Maybe he'll just veto those maps now, but there is other maps that are still decent for the Terran beyond a couple new ones. So when you say those new maps, I think Golden Wall, Purity, and Industry is what REYNOR's talking about. Everdream ain't so bad. And then, yeah, I mean, then you're kind of left with everything else, though. We'll see. I don't actually know what the vetoes are in this series. I guess we will find out shortly, as we do see the hatch, gas, and pool coming through. Reaper setting up from Clem in the main base. And just going to be seeing the Overlord from REYNOR continuing down to the bottom left-hand side, with the SCV coming up to the top right. Again, this Overlord just having a little look around to see what's going on. Being very careful with this second Overlord, just double-checking there isn't any proxy racks anywhere. As Clem will with the SCV, not even looking to scout, just looking to block the third base. If you block this third base and you then want to get your third hatchery up early as REYNOR, you're kind of forced out of this base in the front, which is a really nice base for the Terran to push off. If you take the third base here, you push up all in this high ground. You basically get like a high ground to low ground fight on the third with high ground support positions for siege tanks, etc. It's really, really good. As we do see the engineering bay block as well, so REYNOR just going to pull this back. I mean, Reaper is here to help this out as well. Drone will stick around towards that third base, as obviously this Reaper will try and fight these Zerglings a little bit, but it does just mean this engineering bay is going to have basically full HP on it, so maximum delay possible. Even killing off a Zergling already is huge, because now it's a little bit less damage output to clean out that engineering bay. And so as REYNOR, you're basically going to end up in a bit of a tough spot here. You'll probably have to end up playing a little bit of a faster setup into gas, and if you play a faster setup into gas, probably have to prioritize going in towards Mutalisks on the lair, rather than prioritizing upgrades or other things. We even see double Reaper from Clem, which gives them a lot of potential on the map here, and really a very powerful kind of setup in the front to really keep those Zerglings at bay as well. As a grenade comes down, pops this Queen away just a little bit, and the fight will continue. Still no third base because of that engineering bay, and Clem will be very happy with how this has gone so far. He's going to come back in, but the Queen is there, and the Creep Tumor not ready just yet. Don't think the Reapers will be there in time to really do much about it. He sees the Lings coming over, can't get there, cancels the engineering bay, and the third base can finally begin. Hey, a couple of shoutouts, by the way. Thank you so much. Quan999 actually came in with the Twitch Prime just before we went into the ad break, so just wanted to say thank you so much for that. Sorry for not mentioning it just before we had the break. And LazyAss329 after the 1,000 bits earlier, dropping a Twitch Prime as well. Thank you so very much. Get some love in the chat, please, for the two beautiful people dropping some Twitch Prime subs. Thank you so much, guys. As we kind of focus back up on this game then, a very late third here from REYNOR. He actually, with the extra gas that he mines, so he doesn't pull out of gas as heavily as usual. He will actually just go for Overlord speed. What he's going to end up seeing is Liberator, I mean, Stimpack, etc. So there's not really much crazy. Clem just getting ready for a third CC in the wall off here. I mean, pretty much what you'd expect with 2 Reapers and 2 Hellions, pushing forwards and just checking to see what's up on the third. Obviously not much just yet. It's not even finished. And he will, just as the next Hellions get ready to go, send the next 2 across. Especially as he gets walled off here, you don't have to keep as many Hellions at home, because you don't have Lings running by into your base as much. So, just going to be seeing the few Hellions, a couple of Reapers out the front, a couple of Creep Tumors dropping down, going down the ramp here. And be seeing the extra barracks already starting up. So, very quick towards the second and third racks. It's just the 6 Hellions, so really nothing too crazy as maybe a slight opening here for a couple of drones, but kind of needed to go in right away, and even then it's scary. You don't know how close those Lings are to getting in and getting us around. Liberator up to the main base now, and that's where some more Queens should be pulled up, or maybe you just defend this with the Spore Crawler so the Queens can stay down and defend the Hellions. The whole idea, though, from Clem is that you're starting to deal some damage, you're starting to push units around, you're making REYNOR pay attention to a couple of different positions specifically on this top side, right? You're really, as REYNOR, paying attention to the fact that Clem, you know, has this Liberate. You've got to move your Spore Crawler all the time, and then you've got to keep on moving this around. But the Lings get buffed by a Reaper Grenade, actually helps them to get the surround. All of the Hellions go down, and while this Liberator does get 4 kills, losing all of the Hellions means that Clem just lost all of his early game map control, and that is a real shame. That's sort of this, you know, the thing you don't really want to happen here is Clem's Liberator derping on the mountain, takes a few extra shots for free, and now REYNOR just goes into melee upgrades and goes in towards the Baneling Nest as well. They're going to be finishing on the main base very soon as the Siege Tank and a few extra Marines gather up on the natural expansion. More Zerglings of REYNOR running down to the bottom left-hand side. I'm just going to be seeing the Baneling Nest from REYNOR on the back of this third base is going to be finishing up shortly as we see more creep spread going to be able to push onto the map as well. And yeah, looking kind of crazy as these Zerglings back out around up the top here. Third CC, third orbital from Clem will be floating out into position. And again, this Liberator of Clem pushed back, pretty low HP at the moment. As you will see, the third orbital just going to drop on into place. And again, the Siege Tank from Clem setting up, sieging already. And the Armory is going to be dropping down in the wall off as well. So 2-2 on the way. I mean, you're kind of in a position right now where... you're kind of in a position right now as Clem where, yeah, losing the Hellions suck, but you still have like a decent setup on the map, right? You're going to come forwards here, you're going to clean up some creep spread, stims, and maybe gets all the active tumors without a scan, just not quite. Meanwhile, the Liberator comes back in and gets 4 more drones. I mean, this Liberator has been an MVP and will even maybe survive again. It's so frustrating at this point, although now the Spore Crawler should consistently be in the right position. As this is what Clem is so good at as well, just finds a chance to get rid of a Queen at the front here too. And just keeping up the pressure, keeping up the damage, and really getting the most out of these early game units. Yes, he lost the Hellions early, and that's an advantage to REYNOR. But now he's doing everything else correct and really getting the most out of everything he does still have on the map. 2-2 should be ready to go. Second factory firing up as well, so he will be playing up to 4 bases here. He won't just be going for a rally across the map and consistent Marine tank pressure or anything. He's even starting to switch up into Widowmine production as well, so really preparing to play against Lingbane Muta. Widowmines are so much better against that with the mobility of the Widowmines. The fact they splash up into the skies as well helps a lot against the Mutalisks too. As Clem unloads in the corner of this main base, obviously REYNOR sees this and he has got units coming into position to deal with this. He's finally on 1-1, so these Lings will start to trade a little bit better. And Clem really wastes no time at all lifting up and getting out of there. Meanwhile, more units in the center. Widowmine does go off. I think Clem was trying to avoid the Widowmine shot there with the Medivacs, and so he flew back into the Queen Fire, which hurt a little bit. A couple of these Balins, Clem will target fire down 1-2 and doesn't quite find number 3. Meanwhile, he's already moving around at this drop as well. So again, Clem's pressure on the map, the drops all over the place, just keeping REYNOR pinned back a bit. And as the first Mutalisks come up, this is, of course, a chance to really shut down that pressure. With the Mutalisks, you know, you can shut down these Medivacs a little bit more easily. It also means that it's, you know, finally you're on the map as REYNOR. It's taking you a long time to get here, as that's a nice Bane connection. Clem is distracted elsewhere, and he loses these drops up top. He actually gets one buy into the main base, where he might get a couple drones if he stims for it right now. And moves straight into this mineral line. I mean, a couple drone Lings showing up, but I think you just go for drones here. It's not about surviving against the Zerglings. It's kind of about, you know, doing as much as you can before the Mutas clean you up. Again, Clem rallies into this mountain. He's not having a good time with that, and the Medivac still derping as it flies into the mountainside, killed off by Mutalisks. But behind all of this, it's been map control that Clem has utilized to get a 4th base down. You know, missile turrets up against the Mutas. Clem is, you know, not being attacked by Mutalisks just yet, right? Yes, they've chased down Medivacs. Yes, they shut down drops. But REYNOR has had no opportunity to use them aggressively. He's not been able to harass with them. So as far as Clem is concerned, he's had a lot of time to set up defenses, to set up his bases. And yeah, a couple of those drops going down is costly. And yes, it's not the best scenario. He's actually trading worse than the Zerg, which doesn't happen every day of the week. But there are positives from it all, right? And, you know, 9.5 minutes in, this is the first time the Mutalisks are setting up an attack. And Widowmines are going to blow up a couple right away. Good split to minimize splash damage at the very least. You don't even get the Widowmine kills here as the Zerg player because they've already got drilling claws. So it's again something else that Clem's already built up into. As now the first Thor's taken to the map as well. I mean, I feel like I've been talking a lot about what Clem has been doing. Obviously, REYNOR has finally shut down these drops. Now, finally, REYNOR is a little bit more free in the game to do as he wishes, and he doesn't waste any time at all. Going up in toward the Hive Tech and saying, okay, next stage of this for me is to start looking at what I can do off this Hive Tech. Obviously, I mean, you can look towards the Vipers. sometimes. I don't think that's really a necessity here. No siege tanks in play. But stuff like maybe going in towards the Ultras Cavern is a bit more likely as these medevacs try and drop on by. A couple Widow Mines here to help out. Clem's going to pull back through the center. Then the Widow Mine gets blown up before it fires. This drop over here is going to unload at least. The Muller's flying in to deal with this. Well, he'll take some damage, so a couple going down. I'm still pushing through the middle. Another Widow Mine. I feel like none of these Widow Mines have really had like super amazing connections. Feels like they've all just gone off on those 1 or 2 Zerglings at the front of the army. Thor goes down there. Clem trying to turn around to pick it up. His money is slipping as well. So he's got a lot of money in the bank, which means he can rebuild. But this is an attack that's being shut down. And as you lose attacks like this as Clem, REYNOR is able to get in a position now where the Hive can build. You can get into the Ultras Cavern. You can get to Ultras without worrying too much about what else is going on. And there's a couple of Widow Mines here and there being frustrating, but I mean, they are being cleaned up. I mean, another one in the center here will get a Queen, very nearly 2. This Queen's just derping out of position as well. REYNOR seems to know about it, so he'll come back and deal with this. And again, for REYNOR, this is all just being time bought for now the Hive to be in play. Now, he doesn't want to wait too long here. He's actually a bit low on gas. Morphin and Balins looks like he wants to stay aggressive. It's kind of a time where maybe you actually want to do start those upgrades and spend your gas elsewhere than in the army. So that's something to keep in mind as here we go. Running into this, couple Banes initially doing okay. Widow Mines, again, initially not really connecting on much. There's also the army down to the bottom side here from REYNOR. You will have a few Zerglings initially. Man, that Widow Mine actually hits so much on the splash. But the Bane's coming through here as well. REYNOR feels confident enough to blow this planetary up. 11 SCVs along with this. And now the meters dive into the main as well, where there is actually just very limited anti-air. Clem is very fortunate to have a Thor that's about to finish up, as REYNOR's just going to go after these reactors. So already starting to shut down a lot of the Terran production. 2 Thors into the main base. They mostly hit the Overseers here, though, so Clem will not clean up many meters at all. Trying to rebuild CCs once again, but he's been denied or back down to 4 bases. He was about, he's getting up to 5 bases just now, but now he's back toward 4. And REYNOR just keeping him in control as he goes up to 6 bases of his own, getting those saturated. 96 drones in the game. So REYNOR will continue to run around the map. He will continue to deal damage. Most importantly, REYNOR can continue to trade here very effectively because he has the drone count to rebuild. As these few Widow Mines starting to get some connections. I don't know how some of those Widow Mines didn't go off. Maybe for the better, though, because they weren't doing too much on the edge of the Zerglings. As REYNOR was already pulling back. He was aware of them as... Now we're going to be seeing this Lingbane army pressing through again. That's a nice Widow Mine. Banelin's running in towards it at the wrong moment, unfortunately. The central area of the map is very difficult to push through from REYNOR, of course, very choked up. Clem using a couple of units to basically create a wall here. Funnel those units through. The meters are back in the main, but that meter count has been taking some hits as of late. Ultras Cavern is up. Chitinous Plating now starting, so we're about 2 minutes out from having, powerful Ultras to the field. And that is obviously a game changer from Clem's point of view because it really slows down a lot of his attacks. He's got to make sure he's prepared for it. Now, Widow Mine count being high is a good preparation. Marauders being mixed in is a good preparation as well. So he's not completely underprepared, but it is sort of the stage as well where you want to start thinking about Liberators, etc. First few Liberators, I mean, even just like 4 or 5 Libs can really change what those Ultras are able to do and how much damage you deal to those Ultras as they run on into an army. And just how much easier it is then for the Marauders to get the, pick them off and to clean them up. I mean, these meters just commit in the main at this point. REYNOR doesn't seem to care much about them, just wants to trade them out for anything he can. I mean, he's not going to give them up for free to these Marines, but it's not like he's trying to be super crazy with them as there's some medevacs, which once again lose, but that's a big Widow Mine hit to follow up. I mean, it's scrappy, there's stuff going on everywhere. These Banes actually just crash into the planetary, no SCV kills. So that's a waste of army from REYNOR. Has to rebuild up off of this. 42 more Lings coming in. Corruptors and Ultras building out as well. Getting a little bit crazy is up on the top side. We do have these 2 medevacs dropping off to try and deny another base of REYNOR. And Clem has plenty of CCs of his own. Still looking okay in terms of being able to keep on trading, especially with some of the more recent trades he's been having. Resources lost has turned massively in Clem's favor. 21 to 14,000. That's a 7k difference, and that is actually huge. Now, don't get me wrong, REYNOR's been mining that much more this game. Look at that resource difference. That's why it's kind of even, because Clem has been trading that much better. A lot of these recent fights from REYNOR have been pretty awful as they get. Actually, not even cancelled here as REYNOR does clean up the army at least. Has to now rotate down to the bottom side where Clem is already pushing forwards with Marauders. You can see the Corruptor production. I mean, obviously this helps shut down some of these medevacs. It's kind of preparation for the Liberators he's kind of expecting to see. as a response to these Ultralisks. Not seeing this is kind of crazy, as I mean, a couple of these Thors getting caught. Corruptors will fly in to shut down these medevacs. I mean, the Thor's going down here already. The last couple of Banes going down too. Now it's just Ultras trying to fight this Bio Army, and I'm not sure if that's something you want to go for, as REYNOR probably want to back away, get some more Ling Bane, help support those Ultras as they initially make the move forwards. Back to the top side, REYNOR here is going to be pulling away. I mean, this is the thing, off 95 drones, REYNOR is never really in trouble of just being able to pull away and rebuild once again, unless he takes a really bad fight, which in this case now, REYNOR basically has to lose all of his Ultras in a fight, kind of in the middle of the map, and then Clem can pounce on bases. Because that's the scenario where it takes a long time to rebuild Ultras. But when you're able to take fights on the Terran side of the map, it takes the Terran a long time to then get across the map to deal damage. So you just pull back as the Zergy, rebuild, and boom, you're ready to go again into a fight like this one. Couple of Widow Mines going off. Nothing too crazy yet. Good control from REYNOR. As now a couple of Banes starting to connect on in. This Bioforce will really start to feel the pain. He actually pulls the Banes away. Clem runs all the way back to his Planetary Forest. Caustic Spray to get rid of the Planetary nice and quickly. These couple Ultras are low, but not dead yet. And still supported by more Banelings rolling in. Clem across the map might find this base kill once again, but he is losing a significant base or two that he needs in this game. And right now, it looks as though REYNOR will not let up this pressure. Reinforcements can come in and deal up with this drop. And it looks as though now he will actually pull back with these Ultras. But man, look at these Ultras, so low HP, but none of them going down. And that's the difference as well, right? Keeping these Ultras alive for future fights, future engagements, and if you can transfuse them up, I mean, even, you know, more credit to you, right? This Queen here is going to go down with the transfuse. Oh my god, gets saved. If, yeah, if you can find a couple of transfusions, I mean, the power from that is just insane, as this medevac will be shot down by a Queen as well. Nope, injects, misses the shoot. Misses the shot, gets there in the end. Corruptor's on the bottom side trying to caustic spray down another base, and he gets it. So REYNOR really keeping Clem away from mining. And for all of the drops that Clem has had, all the attempts to shut this down, it's still just not quite been enough to properly shut this down. And so here we are. Another hatchery up on the top side. REYNOR still trying to retake that base. But now we've seen a scenario where REYNOR is consistently up at like 200 supply, while Clem is more hovering around 170 and 180. And that's just because, again, he can't get a foothold in this game any longer. And REYNOR about to lose 3 Ultras for free, basically, because of how low health they are. But, well, yeah, I mean, Clem just needs a bit of target fire right now. He's just stepping. Widowmine goes off. Definitely helps. Ultras straight back into this base here. 24 more SCVs going down. Clem was already struggling on base count. Now he's going to be struggling on worker count. 45 SCVs remain. And obviously, REYNOR does lose a few Ultras this time around, but the rebuild is so easy for him. That's a nice Widowmine drop. Gets 14 drones at least. So Clem still dealing some extra damage. Still dealing some extra damage. And the rest of these Corruptors out over to the left-hand side. Lings and Bane still setting up. A couple of Widow Mines going off, and we do have REYNOR's army back up to the top, chasing down a couple of those Widow Mines, just trying to get rid of them. I mean, he has detection available, but he can clean these out no problem at all. So REYNOR shuts this down, and there's a Widow Mine drop still hanging around here somewhere. I don't think REYNOR's too worried about losing a few drones, though. For him, just means he can get more army on the map. He already has 3k in the bank, so the rebuilding of the bank is not as important as it once was when he was on 90 drones. Widow Mines already dropping in. Couple Widow Mines able to get some kills. Meanwhile, the Widow Mines here did a lot to shut down this run by. Only a few Banes surviving it, as the Ultra's trying to come down the bottom side as well. Somehow, some way, resources lost is a 6,000 difference. It's not gone any worse for REYNOR. Despite Widow Mines like that, I guess he has just been trading so well the last few fights, and he's cleaned out so much of this Terran army now. Down to 120 supply, 41 drones, SCVs in that. And now REYNOR's even building Broodlords, because there is not a world in which Clem can get enough Thors up to realistically fight against those Broodlords comfortably. So the Broodlords alone are going to be a very good way to end this game. There's more Widow Mines coming through. Another 11 drones going down, but again, this is all at the cost of SCV after SCV dying in the bottom left. Lings and Ultras trying to come down to the bottom left side. I mean, the rest of this bio is still coming through. There's REYNOR, another Ultra going down here. A couple Banes connecting for a Marine or two. I mean, REYNOR is still maxed out, 200 supply on the field. And it's just, I mean, yes, his bank's been decreased at this stage, but Clem is spending his money. He's not even getting back to the supply he was at before. His supply is lower every time it seems that REYNOR comes across the map, as right now we are an empty medevac on the top side, and that's the only pressure that Clem slightly has on the map right now, if you can even call it pressure. It's the only thing he has a beacon of hope on that top side, but it being empty obviously doesn't help the cause. We see the Broodlord starting to fire. Wouldn't mind bio units coming forward. Stim will come in. Broodlings being picked off. I mean, with the Broodlord support, this should be pretty scary as the Ultras actually get blown up by Widow Mines. These Ultras are kind of, I mean, the Broods are decent support, but it's not as good as what Ling Bane would be. And the Ultras on their own there, maybe not as great as they could be. Another base of Clem goes down. Now, he's expanding on the bottom side of this. Reynor's mineral count is getting lower. Only 66 drones, hasn't rebuilt that at all. If Clem's to win this game, that's how he's going to do it. Just sort of let Reynor believe he can keep throwing units at him. But in reality, he just sort of just about holds on, keeps re-expanding. I mean, he still has bases up, which is kind of wild. These Broods are really going to be an issue, though. I mean, a couple of Vikings starting to come through. Now Corruptor's being made to fight the Broodlords off as well. Or to support the Broodlords, to stop the Vikings pushing the Broodlords back. Clem continues to pull away. The Ling Ultra Force running in as well. This command center probably going to have to lift off, of course. I mean, Clem's fighting in a corner. Ling's on the left-hand side. There's just no way. You're not really mining properly at all. I mean, again, like, these Ultras are starting to get a little bit exposed, but these Broodlords are going to have Corruptors to protect them, and that means a couple of Vikings won't make the difference. And a Bio Army just doesn't kill this amount of Broodlords as long as there's just a little bit of support and units on the ground. Clem will type GG as Reynor's bank was thinning out. But Clem's bank was dried out a long time ago. He'd been living in the desert when it came to minerals and gas for a long, long time. And Reynor takes game one of this best of 3 here in the quarterfinals of the ESL Open Cup Europe number 11. As in the bottom left-hand side, down 1 game, our blue Terran player is Clem. Up against the red Zerg in the top right-hand side, 1-0 up, it is Reynor. For the second round of this round of 8 bout. Again, following this, semifinals will be ready to go. Here in Reyn waits for the winner of this series. On the top side, we don't have anyone in the semis yet, but obviously we'll do the bottom semifinal first and then into the other... we'll do the bottom semifinal first and then into the top semifinal or so. So it's really heating up here in today's European ESL Open Cup. As we get into this game number 2. Building up a little bit. Why, Wally in the chat, if you want to play Bio versus Zerg, you can't let it go to the late game. I think you absolutely can. You just can't let it go to the late game with the Zerg having overrun you for the entirety of the game. That wasn't late game, right from Clem. That was Clem stuck at the 10-minute marker for 10 entire minutes because he just couldn't survive long enough to build up anything else than what he had. You know, at what point, you know, Clem never had Liberators to help against the Ultras. Clem never had a switch towards Ghost, which you would have as well. You know, he never got a comfortable amount of CCs. And that's because Reynor really took control in the mid game, which, you know, yes, it took then a while to play out, and Reynor hit late game, but Clem absolutely did not. So I don't think it's as much about not being able to fight the Zerg late game when you're playing Bio, as much as it's really just, you know, as much as it's really just Reynor being in a position where it's like, you know, he's basically won the game in the mid game because the mid game went so well for him, right? The mid game went really, really well for him, which is kind of like, it went so well that it's not even like he's going late game just because it's easier to close out the series or close out the game. He's not going late game because he has to. Like, it's just like, well, you know, instead of headbutting with Ling Bane, I can headbutt with Ultras, which are a bit better, and, you know, eventually I switch into Broods. Like, Clem is in no way, shape, or form trying to play a late game there. Like, he just doesn't have the setup for it at all. He's just doing his best to survive, hoping that Reynor gets a little bit careless with attacking, and if you get a bit too careless with attacking one too many times, maybe you expend your bank and, you know, Reynor does more, or Clem does more eco damage than Reynor realizes, and then maybe Clem just finds that one fight, but obviously in that case it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at all. As we do have the couple Lings and a Queen very quick to push this Reaper away. I mean, for Clem, it's all about just getting control of the game earlier, right? And he had a couple drops, but then he lost a lot of his drops, and he never really got a push going beyond, you know, after that. And that's where the issue all really did begin. Really did begin. As we do see 2 Hellions from Clem on the way up. Second barracks here from Clem dropping in. on the main base, a command center in the main as well, so 3cc is the fast build, but into a very fast second rack. So what this begins to be is a 2-on-1 setup off of a 3cc. So while it doesn't hit as fast as a 2-on-1, it has all the pieces of a 2-on-1, and it can actually hit still like 530, I believe, or thereabouts, and it's pretty powerful because it gives you a strong economy with still the pressure of a 2-on-1. Now, you do give up a lot of early Hellions to do this. You'll only have 2 Hellions in the game, so you've got to be very careful of Ling run buys, making sure the Ling count doesn't get too out of hand. You need to keep these Hellions alive as well. So while you're looking for some information, you're also trying to make sure you keep these alive because they are very important. If a Ling float comes, that little bit of extra splash goes such a long way to helping you out. As we will see, the 2 Hellions and a Reaper backing away down through the center towards the watchtower, and then just continuing to move around as well. Overlord speed going to be finishing up on the natural as the 2 Queens of REYNOR coming through. Hellion already taking some damage. Starport finishing up in this main base. Now I'll swap on over to the reactor here in a few moments time as well. Still going to be looking towards that as we do see the Overlord from REYNOR just moving in towards the main base. Just trying to see what's going on here as the 3rd CC will be dropping down in a couple of moments as well. 3rd Rax comes into play. The factory starts up a tech lab. And again, just these Marines of Clem continuing over and just chasing this Overlord away. Overlord will go down. Lair and the Baneling Nest setting up right now too. Hatchery will come forwards, will be placed on the 4th location, so just going to be keeping on setting that up as the rest of these Queens still coming out. Again, the rest of this creep spread pushing down through the center. And we're just going to be seeing a bunch more drones still underway. Engineering base still coming up, and again, Marines loading into medevacs. They will come out over the left-hand side and just come across. So like I said, like 5:30-ish, right? And we are about 5:30 now as these medevacs arrive. So give or take a little bit. Now, what has REYNOR got in preparation for this? He's got a few Banelings that are just now starting to morph in. So not a lot, and only 3, right? And you've got Stim on these Marines, so it's kind of a scary little push here. Because honestly, the Zerglin count isn't that crazy either, and 64 drones? Is it just a few too many? It may very well be as Clem pushing forward to seize the 3 Banelings. Target fire has to be on point on those Banelings. You need to get rid of those if you want to fight this, and he gets rid of all of them. And Clem just keeps pushing up. Now a few extra Zerglins showing up to help out, and this will be pushed back, but at the cost of a couple of Queens. Banelings already spent, and that's a great start for Clem in terms of momentum. As we're just going to see the rest of these Marines unloading on the top side, and REYNOR will continue to move around the top of those few Zerglings. And now an armory starting up from Clem as well. So again, the power-up, the follow-up from this will continue to be good, right? Next 2 medevac should be able to reinforce in time for 1-1 and combat shields. And that's a nice little timing to have here as well. It really is a great start. Look at what's being killed. 6 Marines for 28 Lings, 3 Mains, 3 Queens. Now, the one thing you could argue is I said maybe 64 drones is a bit too much. Obviously, the fact you don't lose any drones means you have had the extra income all that time to make up for what you've lost here as REYNOR. So while Clem's done really well, a lot of that comes from maybe REYNOR not taking this seriously enough early. But because Clem wasn't able to capitalize on workers, it's not end of the world territory for REYNOR, and he can still play this out as there's the reinforcements coming to make this a real powerful 1-1 timing. Now, Hydra Den from REYNOR going to be finishing up on the natural. As we're just going to see the rest of this coming forwards. Pressing through, going to be seeing a scan onto the Queens here, and Hatchery coming in as well. 1 Queen already going down. Tank shot coming through. Some Lings being picked away. A couple of drones going down as well. Another Baneling being picked off. Again, a good amount of units here from Clem. Continue to press forwards as a couple of drones go down. On the left-hand side, these Zerglings hanging out as well. Marines wanting to fight this, but the Lings with the wrap around. I mean, this way you just evacuate as Clem. You know instantly this is not a fight you want to take. Good shutdown from REYNOR. Gets the siege tank out of it. Shuts down this attack. And Clem basically goes running until 2-2 or so. It's a really nice little drop location. Clem is going to pick up and leave, though. Maybe REYNOR just had a bit too much there. I mean, Banes were on the way over. Continue to fight as, again, Marines lifting up once more. The rest of this army from Clem coming towards the frontiers, gathering up on those supply depots. Again, a bit more Ling Bane set up on this watchtower. The rest of this army from Clem continuing over to this bottom side. Now you do see a 5th hatchery from REYNOR setting up on the top also. Getting this ready to go as our command center of Clem flies on over. That's going to be dropping down in position. And again, a good chunk of Marines from Clem going to go stimming forwards as well. Just up to the top, takes the watchtower already. Even more of these Marines through into the middle of the map as REYNOR gonna lose some creep spread, but what REYNOR is doing, he's already on those Hydras, so he already has a very strong ground army to keep fighting with here. Clem kiting backwards and just saying, well, I'm off creep, so, you know, if you want to run into me off creep, you're more than welcome to. If you don't have that speed advantage that the creep gives you, you know, this is never going to be really a bad fight for me. REYNOR bringing these two overlords over the far left-hand side. As now Marines unloading on the right as well. Wouldn't mind the rest of these Marines, all of this stimming forwards. A couple creep teamers already going down. Some Queens running forwards. As you see, a Widowmine. Oh, beautiful split from REYNOR. Those slings, it's going dead center on the Zergling pack, but they're split in a couple different directions at the last moment, and he kills, what, like 2 Zerglings? With a Widowmine that should have killed 10 or more. Really nice macro there from REYNOR. Beautifully done. As Clem is trying what feels like somewhat hopelessly to try and push on the left, push on the right. I mean, he's dealing damage, he's trading, and right now he does get through the Zerglings, which means he's on the Hydras. But that's still supported by Banelings, so there's still only so much you can do is back up the right-hand side. Wow, even more Banelings coming in. These Marines lifting up once again. Gonna lift and go towards the natural. Jimmy goes down, still Lingbane Hydra chasing forwards. Marines will load up one more time. Widow Mines! Blowing up a bunch more Zerglings again here, so again, REYNOR is able to clean up a whole bunch extra. The rest of these Marines coming through. Overseer will be shot down. Marines loading up once again. Still got our Lingbane pressing forwards into the center of this. A couple of these Marines able to push the Lingbane Hydra away up the top side. The rest of this army of REYNOR still out over to the right, and a couple of drones going down. Still more Zerglings streaming through. The medevac will load. Backing away. Clem up to the top side here. Army supply up by about 30, but again, REYNOR's on, 90 drone count, so he's able to just trade and keep on trading. Gets a lot of these Widow Mines before they blow up, and that's the issue with all 4 Widow Mines being in a line there. All 4 of them just get blown up by the same set of Banelings, and suddenly you're missing out on so much of the splash damage you're meant to have for this fight. Rest of these Banes coming through again. Widow Mines yet to connect as REYNOR is doing this properly, just sending a few units in at a time, backing away when he gets a little bit too deep, never running off of creep here. He comes off a creep now and he knows he can get rid of a couple more Widow Mines, and well, this army's heavily overstimmed, so keeps on chasing, but you can see it is a bit too far, right? Clem turns around, he gets some Baneling kills for free. REYNOR's still coming over though, so he does believe. We've not talked much about Clem's bases, but he's on 5 and he's going up to extra CCs as well, so he's really powered up. I mean, he really has a lot across the map here, so both the players really... This is the kind of game now where, Clem, you talk about playing late game. This is the kind of game where I think Clem really does hit late game. By the way, he got +2 armor, so something he didn't get there. This is the kind of game where Clem does hit late game a little bit better. He's already got the fusion core down. He's already got himself 2 starports, so the options of going in towards, Liberators with range, etc. absolutely are, it's an option, and that would make a big difference. Fire pressing through as the rest of these Banes rolling forwards. Widowmine gets a couple of the Banes. The rest of this army still rolling through into this. Widowmine shot is pretty decent. Medevacs will load up and boost away to the side. On the bottom right, the Medevac gets shut down as well, so really not much going on. REYNOR still feeling pretty strong. But like I say, I feel like this game, at least Clem starts off in a better position. Liberators are coming out, so he's got an answer. He's got a tech up compared to the last game when he was still just playing Marine Marauder. When he got to this later 20-minute stage of the game, now 12.5 minutes in, we're already getting Liberators. We're moving towards Ghosts. He has the bases and the economy to do this from the early stages. He's not just hanging on from the 10-minute mark. And that could make the difference here. While REYNOR does seem to be the one out on the map and taking control of the game, Clem is set up better to deal with it this time around. And if he loses a base to like a Bane run by, there's another command center right next to it to just take over like in an instant. So that's worth keeping in mind as well. As you do see, REYNOR's going to attack with the main army up on the top side of this. He's going to start him back away, but he does have the Banes running through here. Good response from Clem. Save the SCVs. Might just lose this CC, which is a shame. I was just mentioning how you have that in position to float over. He will float this orbital over instead. Clem takes this as an opportunity to press forward. There's a lot of Banelings giving up on the bottom side. He lost a lot of Banelings. REYNOR trying to push into the main army as well. So Clem has the numbers to push through. is going to come straight into this. And I mean, the Banelings just aren't ready, so REYNOR's going to lose a base. 13 drones going down as well. Now, Clem is heavily overstimmed. He needs these Widowmines to connect, and he does get a couple good ones right from the start. Has to lift, has to leave, but he will get away. And again, Clem deals some good damage here as REYNOR has the money to spend. Doesn't have the lava to really spend it all on, though. Meanwhile, Liberator up here was the culprit of 9 worker kills. Just going to be seeing the rest of the Ling Bane out on the left-hand side. More command centers building in the center. Creep spread around the entire map. That's Queen about to finish up in the upper left-hand side. 5 bases up into 6 soon from REYNOR, but of course Clem's already on 5, and again he lost this bottom side base. Got it back up, although not a planetary fortress now, so a smaller Ling run by could be successful here. You don't necessarily need to run in with a ton of Banelings, etc. I mean, yes, there's a couple of libs. You wouldn't be able to do just 5 Lings, but like a Ling count like this would deal pretty decent damage before it's dealt with. Ling starting through from the center of the map. Bane's coming in as well. A couple Hydras pushing on down, and a medevac will be sniped. There go those Lings into the mineral line. There's 10 workers down. So already the SCVs have to go running, and REYNOR uses it as an opportunity to set up the frontal attack as well, knowing that Clem is pulling back to deal with those Zerglings, but he doesn't find a way. And Liberator Siege is a choked up position because of the other command centers. So REYNOR will just back away now. Says, well, not today, not just yet. Not going to run myself into the meat grinder for the moment, as we do see extra Banelings morphing into the center of the map. Extra drones coming through as well. Evo Chambers coming in on the 3rd base as well also. There's a couple of Widowmines set on up over to this right-hand side. Do you see the couple of Corruptors still flying into the upper left, and still this bio army of Clem pushing up. He's now getting ready to take yet another base. And this side of the map doesn't really have a lot of pressure on it, so it's realistically a base you can get up and running. We'll see where exactly REYNOR wants to run around. I mean, you just see the Corruptors coming through. This 1 or 2 Liberators obviously won't help over here. And these Libs actually running in just to their death, so Clem a little bit lackluster on this defense so far. I mean, a lot of Marauders soak up Banelings here, and he doesn't lose anything too important initially, but the Lings get into the main base, which is a mistake in itself, because those depots could have been raised. And as Clem has to go and continue dealing with that, he now has units at the front who are attacking him as well. So he has to deal with this while also trying to protect his production lines. And Clem now is just a bit all over the place, and this is where REYNOR can absolutely continue to take advantage, as these Zerglings in the main will be cleaned up. On the bottom side, you see the Ling Bane continue to come on through. The planetary fortress in some trouble, and we're going to be seeing the run by into this, going in towards this planetary fortress. The Banelings still coming in. I mean, SCV's being blown up. A few of these Hydras thinking about continuing to commit on through, but in the end they back away. Now we're going to be seeing this command center trying to retake over this side, but great couple moments from REYNOR. Shuts down a lot of the production. You know, forces Clem all around the map, shuts down a command center in the process as well. And during all of this, resource loss about 7k difference, but REYNOR holds on to all of his bases and takes another one as well. And that's the biggest thing of all here. REYNOR consistently has mining. REYNOR consistently has ways to rebuild the armies that he's using. He's never fully using up his entire army here. As we'll see, a couple of Widowmines going down. Zerglings being picked up. The bio coming around to see where it can go. More Lings and Hydras running through. Corruptors going in after the orbital command. SCV is going to try and repair this. He actually didn't fly far enough away to cancel the caustic spray. Clem's just all over the place. Another cancel on his bottom side. Base actually got killed. Planetary cancelled. Clem's going to try and repair it, and it will be enough. So he actually does save this base. So maybe in the end it was intentional, but man, this army's still pressing through right now, and a couple of snipers dropping down. Hydra's already on top of the Liberators. There's not many Banelings left here, but honestly, this bio army is such low HP. The Hydra DPS might just be able to push on through this. Zerglings still rolling down the bottom. Corruptors find themselves another Liberator just out in the open, out on their own. The Hydras and the Banes keep running on in, and I mean, SCV after SCV will be dropping down dead. 21 workers killed. Clem now spending pretty much the entire bank that he had on just rebuilding, and it's even not bringing them back up to max, and it looks as though REYNOR will, third time lucky, get his revenge and be able to take down Clem. Revenge for those victories Clem has had the last couple of meetings, but this one, REYNOR didn't just look good, REYNOR looked freaking dominant. Absolute control of the game, start through finish. A little bit of scare factor here and there. A couple drops he maybe wasn't prepared for. The first 2-on-1 of this game attack. The first 2 medevacs. But realistically, beautifully done for the most part. And he instilled confidence in me from start through to finish that he had the control of this game for the most part, right? And yeah, Clem had a better setup, but REYNOR was still the one making all the moves. GG's, REYNOR 2, Clem 0, and REYNOR goes to the semi-finals.